Hi everyone, thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video of a traveler's notebook insert spread that I'll create using products that scrapbook.com sent to me with the brand new Tonic Studios and the Nuvo Drops Dream in Color collection. Absolutely gorgeous. Very inspired by product, and this inspired my project very much. I'm using some of the specialty papers. One is the Caribbean Tide and the other one I believe is called Lilac Waves. I'll have the link of the products in the description of this video. And there's that holographic paper as well. I'm using definitely these embellishment mousses and the stencil. And then I'm going to use some of the glitter, and I'm going to use some of this lilac waterfall shimmer powder. Absolutely amazing products. I had heard of Nuvo and I had seen the products, but this is my first time actually using any of their products, and this is my first experience with this powder, this metallic powder. And I discovered this by accident when I was squeezing it to see what it was, and it went flying. And then I used a baby wipe, and I loved the look of it. So I'm going to use the brand new watercolor pad that also is part of this collection of the Nuvo Tonic, and I saturated that sheet of watercolor paper first with the water, and then I squirted on some of that powder, and then I'm spraying it a little bit more. Now I want to get a little bit more creative here and use the glitter glue. I don't know if it's really necessarily called a glitter glue, but it does have adhesive in it. So I want to use this to use my paintbrush to kind of add a little bit of added sparkle to this watercolor paper. I love the look of this powder. It is amazing how it has so many different colors within it. This isn't even getting into all the colors that you can do with it. Now I'm going to use that same powder how I accidentally did it. Using it dry on the watercolor sheet and a baby wipe, and then just rubbing it. I really love this look. It gives it a totally different look. However you start rubbing it is the way it's going to stay. You can't refix that or add more water to it to get it to move. Once it's there, it is there. Now I want to use that glue in a different way here. And I'm going to just spread a line of that and then use the baby wipe. I was just playing around. I wanted to just see and experiment with the products. Now I'm going to do another sheet, and I'm going to put the powder and the glue, and then I'm going to use a baby wipe to kind of just dab it on. It ended up being similar to the second look that I did, but it just gives you a different idea of how you could use this. I did spritz a little bit of water there to get it to blend a little bit better. But you can see that you really don't need to have any special products. You can just use your baby wipe and create so many unique different looks here, and just use a regular bottle filled with water to spray on there. So really, really fun products to create different looks. And then of course you can use these watercolor panels now for your cards. You could also die cut them, and you could also use them on your memory keeping scrapbooking products. Now I want to use that glitter glue another different way. So I did one vertical line, and I'm using a spatula to scrape it. That one was actually my favorite. I really like the look of that. Now I'm going to pick one of the favorite looks that I used with that powder. And since this is a traveler's notebook insert spread, I am using cardstock, not watercolor paper. So I want to do the baby wipe technique. Now as you can see, I started swirling, and it's going to stay in that pattern. So I can't move that, but that's okay because I'm going to create a layered look to this. And I want to see some of the swirls and some of the marks that I create with that powder. I love the different colors and the different shades that you get from that one powder. Now I want to add another dimension to this traveler's notebook spread, and I'm going to use the brand new Twisting Circles stencil from Tonic. I love how Tonic has the little tab at the top. Very easy to store these. Now, instead of using a spatula, which you could with this mousse, I like to kind of get my fingers messy. So I am using my fingers, and I'd actually experimented with this beforehand, but I wanted to show you how I created my background first. And I love the look of these two mousses together. They create a nice, pretty champagne-y color. They just blend very, very well. I was very happy with the texture. This is the first time I've used this. I have only used modeling paste. And hands down, I definitely like and prefer this better. It's creamier. It doesn't have that flakiness that the modeling paste can sometimes have. So here is a dried piece that I had originally done. I wanted to show you though the process that I used. Now I used this little fine tip applicator with some of the art glitter glue inside of it to adhere those detailed die cuts together. These are the die cuts from Pink Fresh. They were new in January and they are available at scrapbook.com. I'll have those linked. Now I want to use those little dies, and I decided I die cut from the Pretty Gold, which is gorgeous, and that holographic. But since I'm really inspired by that photo, and that photo has the colors that I'm pulling out, that holographic paper really went well. So I'm going to use the holographic die cuts here, and I'm just going to really have fun and just piddle around with how I want to place them and decide where I want them to go, while I'm still kind of keeping in mind what title and how I want to create my title to go. I definitely want to bring in some more of the Tonic Studios and Nuvo products. So I am just going to place these, and then I'll probably go ahead and get my title done. And I've decided to use, it's a Pink Fresh stamp set. I've decided to go with Congrats, since this was about my daughter being a part of the ballet company. Now I decided to get a little brave and try to emboss with the brand new Nuvo. It's embossing powder. It's in mulberry, I believe. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to use my Misty tool to help with this, because I wanted to make sure that I could stamp a couple of times in the same place with clear pigment ink to make sure that I get those powders, or that powder, to really stick well to it. Now this stamp set, I also noticed, is a little, it has that cursive, fun, celebratory kind of look to it. So I realized it actually looks crooked, and it is a little crooked, but it actually works because it has that fun, kind of, like I said, celebratory look to it. So I'm okay with this. And that's fine that it's like this. If it were on a card, I probably wouldn't be okay with it. But for this layout, for this fun kind of mixed media little traveler's notebook spread, it's fine. I really like the look of it. So after I heat emboss that, it will kind of warp it. Like I said, I am using cardstock here, just regular cardstock. And you can just put something heavy on top of this. I'm okay with how it will warp a little bit. I did put some heavy things on top of it to kind of get it to even out a little bit. But it's going to warp a little bit, and that's fine with me. Now I'm using a pale gray ink here, and I stamped some of the other sentiments from that stamp set that really went well with the whole theme of this memory. I want to use this glitter glue as actual glue to glue down these little bitty dies. And I want to smush them, and it's okay. I want to see some of that glitter kind of coming out and oozing out from under it. I think it will go with the whole mixed media look here. And so I tried it on that little extra piece of watercolor card that I had experimented with before, and I liked the look of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of these little die cuts adhered, because now I have my title. So I know that I know now where to place those dies. The next thing I will decide on is my journaling. And I decide to type my journaling on a separate sheet of cardstock. And then to go along with that mixed media look, I did some stitching. I did some white threaded stitching on it. You'll see that in a little bit. I kind of got a little carried away. The embellishments that Nuvo has with this collection, it was pure eye candy. I actually had a very hard time trying not to use every single piece here on this spread because every piece actually looked really good with this. So, and that die that I used with those two papers, those little white embellishments really went so well with it. But I didn't want to take away, I didn't want to crowd this too much. So I ended up going with the amethyst squares, and they fit perfectly within the dies that I used. That's a nice little shimmer. I also did use some of the little clear crystal gems, and they have the holographic silver rain sequence. Gorgeous. Okay, so here I am bringing in my journaling, and I cut that into strips. Like I said, I did some stitching, machine stitching in white thread on each row, and then I trim it. I like the look of the loose threads, especially with mixed media projects like this. So I'm just deciding where I want to adhere these little strips, and I decide to put it all on the right side. Since my main photo is the larger photo on the left, I want that to be the focus on that side, and I'll have all the journaling here on this other side. Now I wanted to show this strip. I had experimented also with this. Using my finger, I spread the mousse in that mulberry color, and then I put the other mousse on top, and I love that look. I also did another traveler's notebook spread here using some of the Nuvo products, and I used that embossing powder on that holographic paper there. Absolutely gorgeous. I enjoyed this so much. I hope this inspires you to purchase these products. You can see affiliate links on my blog, and I hope that you have fun creating and enjoy the products as much as I have. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.